Hey Aries, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings. Take what works, leave what doesn't, as with everything. If you don't catch your wavelength in this one, go check your other major placements. Even if you do catch your wavelength, it is kind of interesting to check your other major placements. And I was going to say something else. I was going to say something about subscribing if you haven't already, but YouTube does tell me that most of you guys watching this have already subscribed, so I'm proud of that. That's cool. All right, Aries. Oh my goodness, look at you. Holy moly. All right, Aries, your hard work is paying off. New moon in Capricorn. You have either started working towards something or you have already been working for, and the payoff is in the works. Not seeing it right now. Not seeing it right now, but it is in the works, right? We have the new moon. It's all blocked out right now, but it is in the works. This is such a reassuring card that, you know, you've put effort into something, something's going to come of it. Okay. You're putting effort. Maybe it's not that exact thing. Maybe it's something else, but the effort you put into that pays off eventually with something. So no work is wasted here. Your hard work is paying off. You've maybe done something outside your comfort zone or put in extra hours or something, and the payoff is coming. You don't have it yet. It's like a paycheck. Could be a spiritual paycheck, could be an actual paycheck. But you put the work in already, and they're doing some accounting, and then they're going to bring it, and then you get your check, right? A couple weeks later. So that's a little bit what's going on. If you've put in some kind of work here, you've tried something, you've made the phone calls, you've made the initiative, you've done things. Not seeing the payoff yet, but don't worry about it. Because we also have new moon in Taurus, prosperity lies ahead. Oh, honey, Aries, these two together, what? This is beautiful. This is amazing. These two together. Prosperity lies ahead and your hard work is paying off. Yeah, that check's coming in. It's coming. It might be slow. It might be weeks after you put the effort into it, after you thought. You can't see it right now. Both of these have that new moon in Taurus and Capricorn. So this is very concrete, right? We've got two earth signs present here, Capricorn and Taurus, so something very tangible. And then we've also got new moons in both of those where we can't see it, we can't see where it's going, but something's going to be emerging as time goes on. Something's going to come forward. So both of this, your hard work is paying off, prosperity lies ahead. We're in a new moon right now. We can't see it. It's coming though. It's coming though. So don't worry. That moon waxes and wanes pretty regularly. So this is coming in. And full moon in Virgo, you are good enough. So if you have your doubts that have I worked hard enough? Have I put in enough effort into this? This is saying, yes, you have. You've done enough. You've dotted enough I's, you've crossed enough T's, you've filled out enough paperwork. You're just waiting on the results. That's what you're waiting on here. So, but yes, you have done enough and you've done a good job. You are worthy of the work that you've put into yourself, that you've put into your future. You're worthy of this work, and whatever prosperity and however this work pays off, you earned it. You earned it. And, yeah, you are good enough for this. So if you applied to something, even if you don't get that one thing, just understand that you are good enough, that you did a good job with this. You know, I want to say, like, if you don't get this, you are one of the top candidates, and whatever experience, whatever you take away from this leads to something else, or it doesn't lead to something else, but your experience is part of the hard work that is going to be eventually paying off and bringing you some prosperity. So, all right, we're working with the Tarot of Mystical Moments this week. This is your past, your present, inner landscape, what's at issue, environment, to-do list, possible outcome. All right, in your recent past, you have the Three of Cups. Being part of a community, part of a group of friends, mutual support, being in a circle of some kind, being inside the circle. Having an inner circle and being inside the circle, being part of a group. They're all like matching in their footwear. They all have the same exact footwear on. I love this card. It's so festive. And the Three of Cups to me is always about people deeply sharing their emotions. You know, they're all in a circle. There may have been one ringleader here, but there was a circle of friends. There was a group dynamic of mutual support. emotionally satisfying, sharing something, maybe for a time, right? We're part of these groups for a time. So you were part of some kind of group in some sort of support group, or you had a lot of support, a lot of mutual support, friends, hanging out with friends, basically. You've been doing some hanging out with some friends in your recent past. Your current situation is Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups is having lots of options. Options opening up, having lots of options. Maybe one is clearer than the others. Thinking them through, working on them, selecting something, a process of selection, which can be a little stressful. Trying to select something that brings you the most amount of joy and happiness. Trying to pick a path or pick a way through that's going to bring you happiness. And there might have been a strong intuitive hit at first. Now you're seeing other possibilities. Is it still that one? So there's some sort of debate on what you want here. And what's going to bring you the most happiness. So debating, trying to figure it out. I mean, in this one, she is definitely, there's several options, and she's definitely picking her option. So there might be a choice before you right now that you do need to decide something right now, and trying to select, but intuitively. And there's also part of the selection process that I want to say is a little, there's some sort of, I want to say it's a little magical, honestly. Like there's some sort of situation here. You've got some sort of magic touch. You can touch the stars. You can touch what you want. You can get what you want here. You may be a little confused on what you want. There might be lots of possibilities, but there's one that's sticking out. There's one that sticks out to you. I think you need to trust that. Trust that there is one. And you may not be trusting that one's the one that like ticks all your boxes or brings you the most prosperity or is really going to pay off. You may be having some doubts about that, and yet it's the one you want. And this is saying, yeah, go with the one you want. Yeah, you know. And even though it doesn't look like it's going to pay off in the way you were maybe looking for, it's saying it will pay off. And then we have your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape, the tower. Who's not worried about the tower? Even though we know intellectually that the towers come in to clear something out in our life and allow us to rebuild something, right? The tower comes in as our younger brother or sister or younger sibling to destroy our Lego tower. And the thing is, we get to rebuild a new tower. So we understand, we're always working with Legos here in this life, and nothing ever gets sort of permanently set here. So there's always things falling apart. So you never quite arrive, right? There's always something falling apart, and if you arrive, it's for like a couple minutes, right? Because it's all made out of sort of conceptual, spiritual Legos. So they're meant to be taken apart and rebuilt, right? But even though we can understand that, the arrival of a tower moment, the arrival of some sort of structure in our life falling apart still strikes fear in the heart of every person on the planet, right? So this tower moment, you're worried about things falling apart. You're worried about some kind of structure in your life not being able to withstand new pressures, not being able to withstand. And if you make a different choice, if you make this choice, what falls apart? What do you lose? Does everything fall apart if you make that choice? Does everything you've built up, everything you've accomplished fall apart? Do you have to start over? Just warning, you will be doing that multiple times in this life. Most of us do. It's very few people that get through without having to start over a few times with some aspects of their lives. I mean, but that's almost the fun, right? I mean, it's supposed to be the fun, even though it doesn't feel like it sometimes. Of getting to rebuild things. So you're worried about something falling apart and not being able to withstand this decision that you're making, this choice that you make. You could be worried about this friend group falling apart. Like, what happens if you pick a different hobby, right? What if this is like your knitting group and you're like, I'm done knitting, I want to crochet now, and those two don't mix. So what happens to my knitting group? What happens to my knitting friendships if I take a different route, if I take a different tack? So there's I mean, who's not concerned about a tower moment, something coming in, and maybe even something coming in quite suddenly. Getting blindsided in life is no fun at all. Even if we do get to recreate our world afterwards, it is pretty shocking and destabilizing. So you're wondering and worrying about something getting destabilized and something falling apart that you rely on, that you love, that right now you're very comfortable with it. And if you make this other choice, what if this falls apart? And then what's at issue here is this 5 of Wands in reverse. So 5 of Wands in reverse, there's a conflict here, a discussion here that needs to be had that's not being had. Either that or there's like literal fisticuffs happening. So the 5 of Wands in reverse traditionally can be some sort of violent outburst, but can also be suppression of differences of opinion, suppression of different strategies, not thinking something through all the way, right? When we're playing chess, which this clearly depicts chess playing, our motivation is very clearly stated. We want to win. So there's something. But, and then we all have different strategies, we all have different things. But before each move, either you overtly, or if you're really good, sort of in the background, understand what all the other moves the other players might take, right? And then you make your best decision from that. So there's a lot of strategy involved. You may not be someone here may not be being very strategic. They may not know what they want in a field where other people know what they want. They may not know what they want here, but everyone else seems to know what they want. And that does leave you on a pretty poor footing in any kind of conflict. There could be a sense of, so not knowing what you want. There could be a sense, and with the 7 of Cups, you could actually know what you want, but just be unclear about it right now, or not willing to strive for it, not willing to be strategic about it. You could know what you want, but you don't necessarily know how to be strategic about it. You could know what you want and be unaware of how other people are going to react to that, not able to see how it's going to play out, right? She's playing chess, and so this could be an inability to see how something's going to play out, an inability to see other people's motivations or understand other people's motivations and read their strategies, right? Part of playing really good chess is understanding your opponent and how their mind works. So understanding other people in this field. So 5 of Wands is typically conflicts of interest, conflicts of strategies, conflicts of motivations, but we've either suppressed the conflict and we're not engaging in the conflict to an extent that's problematic or creating an issue, or we don't understand some aspect of the conflict. We don't understand what our motivations are. We don't understand what the other person's motivations are. We're not, we're not having open conflict. We may be avoiding conflict in this situation, partly because we're not even sure what we want. With the 7 of Cups here, she's picking a star, but that process to pick that star is actually pretty sketchy. So you may not know what you want. You know, part of you wants to keep this power or this tower intact, and part of you also wants something else that could put that tower at risk. So, so not being clear on what you want, and then this actually puts you at a disadvantage for strategy, for any kind of conflict. So you may be avoiding conflict because you're literally like, I don't know what I want here, because you're worried about this. You do want something, but you're worried about something falling apart. So you might just be avoiding the whole thing entirely. In your environment, 10 of Wands. So something's completing here. Some sort of burden, maybe even something you didn't really want to do or you didn't pick yourself. I love this one because it shows her, she actually sees something in her environment that she wants. She's carrying all these burdens, all these things of what other people want, maybe even this tower that she clings to. She's carrying all of this of what other people need, what other people want, what other people have asked of her. Now she finally sees something she wants. She's picking something. We have 2 situations here where you're picking something, and this burden has to go away. In order for you to have the strength to do that, something else is ending. So something that other people telling you what to do, other people's ideas, other people's motivations, what other people want from you. This is actually ending in your environment. It could be something that's happening very organically and naturally, and it's just time for that to end. And this is you wanting something, but you can't go for that thing until this thing is off your back. And that can be societal expectations, that can be group expectations, group representation, assignments that you didn't ask for and didn't want to do, that weren't what you would have spent your time on, a career path that isn't something that you want, but was selected for you by your guardians or someone that had possibly your best intentions at heart, but really can't be living your life for you. So this is a 10 of Wands. Something's ending. You've got to live your life for you. Some sort of burden and obligation, possibly to this friend group, possibly, right? Because or this group that you're out here representing. Maybe you're done being a representative of that group, and you're finishing that sort of connection to those people, and it needs to end so that you can live your own unique life. And then your to-do list is a bunch of surrender to the changing things, right? You're not where you were a year ago. You're not who you were a year ago. Times have changed, and we've orbited this whole sun. We've gone on a whole trip through the universe over this past year, and we only look like we're right back where we started, but everything's moving, including our entire galaxy. So we're not actually anywhere right where we started. But cycles have completed. This is the end of a cycle, the end of a big situation in your life. It might be the end of a certain stage of a relationship, or the certain stage. There is a sense here of you're entering a new stage of something. And there are these events that, time just moves. We don't move it. Time does its own thing. The orbit does its own thing. Axial tilt does its own thing. There's all these things outside of our control. But this is allowing something to wrap up. It's the final card in the major arcana, and it's the last bit. It's allowing something to wrap up, something to conclude, something to finish. There's nothing you need to do here. There's nothing you need to accomplish in this situation. It's just, maybe you still got to do, your work and wash your dishes and all that shit, but there's nothing it's ending. It's ending, ready or not. It's completing. I don't want to say ending, but something's completing. It could be the structure that you're worried, what's going to happen without the structure in my life? So something's completing, and you're there. You've arrived at the end of this story, at the end of this book. Yeah, it's a whole series, so don't worry. But you're at the end of this particular book, this chapter. I don't want to say chapter because that's small. The world's big. The world's a big ending. A big completion. A big completion. I keep saying ending, which always sounds scary. Sounds like this, right? The tower is ending. It's a big completion here. Where you're headed is the Magician card. Ooh, I like this. You're completing some sort of phase, some sort of chapter in your life. It could be this hard work that you've put into something where you don't see the results yet. The Magician, you're able to make something happen. And look at this, 7 of Cups. She shows this, this artist shows this as, look at that magic wand. And here again, this magic wand. And you have all the elements to create magic. You have all the elements to create something you want in your life. Everything kind of comes together here. You have the elements, and then here comes the electricity to make something happen, make something come to life. It's almost, the Magician is not the first card. The Fool is the first card. I feel like we already did that, but the Magician is card number 1, right? And then, so something's ending and something's beginning. You've completed a task. You've completed this task. You carried this burden. You completed these tasks. Now it's time for your task. You've completed a task. You've completed this cycle, this task. You've completed something. You've completed this hero's journey. Done. We're completing. And your to-do list is just to let that happen. It's ending. Don't fight it. Like, that would be like you trying to push the planet. I don't want my 40th birthday to come. Pushing the planet back. This is pointless. So this is something you cannot fight. This is something you cannot stop. It's coming in. And then but you have this new beginning, and it sits right under this. You're worried about something falling apart. You're creating something. You're beginning something. It looks like the Fool card, the 0, the level 0 of wanting to do something, wanting to prepare something. It's almost like this is all part of it. And then now we get to, it's like this was all the prologue, and now we're at chapter 1. Now the book begins. Now that, the introduction is over, now we begin. Now the journey really begins. A new journey begins. And you start off with creating something magical happens. Something comes together. something you selected, something you, I mean, the magician has so much power to create. There's a spiritual power too. There's an energetic power. With this wand here, we have this sense of being in touch with energy, in touch with the energetic fields, and able to create out of that. A very sort of magical moment of things coming together. And yes, right, your hard work is paying off. Prosperity lies ahead. You are good enough. That all seems to be like this thing. It does really actually come together. You're worried about something falling apart, but this is saying what you have here. You might have an ending. Yes, you do have an ending, but something's coming together. And that is beautiful and magical and awesome. Something you selected, something you picked. It is going to pay off. I mean, it doesn't pay off by full fruition here. It pays off by you get to actually go on this trip now. You get to actually go on this journey. That's how it pays off. Is then you get to start a new journey. So, all right, Aries, this was a fun little trip of a reading. I hope it was helpful for you, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.